Today I'm sharing the top three passive income mistakes to make in your business. Okay, that's what I'm talking about today. So these days, passive income is almost like this kind of pot of gold at the end of the yogipreneur rainbow, right? And it's become this really popular concept and a little bit of a kind of buzzword, I guess, in the online space. And it may be something that you've thought about and, something that you're working towards, which is no surprise, as making money, whilst you sleep or whilst you're on the beach does sound very appealing, right? And that's the thing, often the things that we hear about passive income or that we read about passive income imply that that's what passive income is. And of course, the word passive also makes it sound like, you don't need to do anything once it's actually set up. And that's not really the case, right? That's not the case. And so I want to share today the reasons for that, because if you're unaware, then you may indeed make these mistakes that I'm going to be sharing today. You might make mistakes, these particular mistakes, whilst you're actually, trying to reach what could end up being this elusive passive income. So generating passive income in your business, it isn't as simple or straightforward as maybe some of the coaches that you're following online make it seem to be. And, figuring out how to generate a steady flow of cash actually requires, a fair amount of work, and it requires that you dedicate your time in the right places. So don't get me wrong on this, passive income, when you do get it right in your business, it can be the path to, building a highly profitable yoga business. Okay, so before I kind of dive into the mistakes that you might make whilst trying to bring passive income into your business, let's just talk about what passive income actually is, okay? So passive income is any kind of income that you generate without the need for ongoing work, okay? So if you are being paid for, teaching a yoga class, then you're actually trading your time for money, okay? So this isn't passive, is it? It's actually active, right? You're actively doing something to be paid. So the same is for, the same applies for, if you're getting paid hourly for doing a particular task, right? You're earning money in exchange for your efforts. So again, it's active, it's not passive. So passive income, hypothetically, requires no time exchange to make money, right? You're not trading your time for money. So as a yoga teacher, what could that look like? Could be that you work with brands and you could be an affiliate for the brands that you work with, okay? So you share your affiliate link to their products and services, and you share those with your community. So you can share them on your email list or on social media. And this can work really well if you have a large community. It works really well if you've got a large number of people in your community already, and you're working with brands and products that you're aligned with, right? You're aligned with that brand, and maybe you use those products, and so you can, talk about them from the heart and from experience. So maybe you do that. That can be a really nice way of getting commission from people using your link and buying into that brand and buying products and services. It could also be that you have a lot of content, right? So you look at what you've created already and you already have tons of content there, and you decide to create a subscription of past content. Okay, so that content is hosted online, and then your students come into your subscription and they simply pay month after month to be able to access all of your past content, and they're paying month to month. So that's like a subscription model where you're relying or you're using the content that you already have, right? So you've already done the work, it's already done, you're just giving access to that content. So that could be a passive way of earning income as well. Another way is if you're handy with the camera, right? If you take a good photograph, you could turn your yoga photos into stock photography. You can submit them onto websites such as Shutterstock, iStock Photo, and then when people purchase them, you get a kickback. I mean, obviously you have to take a good photo for that type of affiliate income to be part of your business. You could create an online course and build an evergreen funnel. Okay, so don't worry if that's like, what is she on about? And a little bit over the head there. But I'm going to explain all. Okay, this is why you're here. This is why you're here. So this is actually the best option, right? When it comes to actually making a substantial amount of money, right? And it's this evergreen business model. Okay, so you're going to likely, if you get this right, you're going to earn a substantial more than what you would, earning a little bit of commission from an affiliate or from photos, let's say stock photography. And an evergreen model, when you've got it set up right in your business, is what would be referred to as passive. So this is what we have here at Digital Yoga Academy. We do have an evergreen business, or we have an evergreen funnel for our Super Yogi course, right? So we have opt-in freebies such as our quiz. We have a marketing blueprint that you can download, and then we have an email sequence that nurtures the people who have opted in and come into the funnel. It nurtures those relationships and then sells the course for us, right? So you may have heard people talking about this. Online course creators are always talking about evergreen funnels, and they make it sound like it's this like super complicated magic that happens in your business. And the truth is, an evergreen sales funnel is just a fancy way of saying an automated system that sells your courses year round to your audience, right? So that's it. That's actually all it is. And I say it's all it is. It requires some work, right? When you've got it dialed in, when you've got that funnel dialed in and it's working for you, it's working, it does that selling part for you, it's great, because then you can focus on what you really love, which is showing up for your community, serving your students, teaching, sharing content, sharing value. And usually when I talk to teachers about this, or when I talk to teachers who want to create online courses, they tell me straight away, I want to create my online course and I want to put it on evergreen. I want to create an evergreen course, and it's selling whilst I'm sleeping, and anyone can enroll at any time and they get immediate access essentially. But the thing is, it's not a case of just set up your evergreen funnel and you put your feet up and chill on the beach drinking a coconut. Like, that's not what it's about. And so this is why I don't really like to use that phrase passive income, because it's never really passive, guys. So this is why we're talking about this today. So let's dive in. Let's look at these 3 mistakes. Okay, so if you've got like the bright lights and your eyes are like lighting up at passive income in your business, I really want you to listen today to what I have to share, because I don't want you to make these 3 mistakes. So first of all, the first mistake is to not do enough research, right? And as I said, many teachers that I speak to, they want to create a course, they want to put it on evergreen, and then they expect to make their millions. And it's that kind of saying, isn't it? If they build it, they'll come. This is rarely a recipe for success, like when it comes to launching anything really, and especially when it comes to an online course that you think or hope is going to generate passive income. And I think this particular mistake that I'm talking about, not doing enough research, actually applies to everything. It applies to anything that you do in your yoga business, like not just creating an online course. You have to do research for anything that you're creating. And it's, to not do your research first. So whether you are creating an evergreen or live course program, you must understand the problem that you solve, right? You must be super clear on who you're solving that for, like who you're serving and the reasons why your online course or program is exactly what your ideal student needs right now. You need to know the nitty gritty of all of that. And remember that on your online course, it's essentially your best work, right? You know, you're not just teaching a yoga class here. Your online course is going to involve you bringing together all of your gifts, all of your skills and knowledge, and to take your student on this deeper journey of healing, potentially. Like if that's what your course is about. It could also be that they're learning to, or they're going to learn in your course how to nail a handstand in 6 weeks. Okay, again, it's solving a problem, right? It's finding a solution to a particular need for a particular person who wants to go on that journey, whether it's a healing journey or whether it's, you know, that they have this desire or need to learn how to do a handstand. So whatever it is, you need to understand what that is and what that transformation is. So this isn't, you know, you're not creating a course that's for everyone. And in order to actually sell your course, you need to nail your messaging, right? You need to nail your messaging. You need to understand how to actually speak to your ideal students so that that course resonates with them. And you need to be able to define exactly what's going to be inside that course and what you're actually going to create. All of that requires research, right? You can't get the answers to all of that unless you've done the research first. So that's the mistake to make, right? Mistake number one, the mistake to make is that you have not done your research. Like all of that requires research. Is exactly what the students inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher are doing right now. They're learning about that research process. Like they are diving deep into the insight and research that they can use to actually make those business decisions, right? And why? Because we're business owners, right? Of course, you need to have insight. Like this is why companies have research departments, right? They have entire research departments and people who are responsible for doing customer feedback, research, you know, and insight and gathering that insight to actually use it to develop their products and services. So it's part of business, right? It's part of building a business. And so for us as yoga teachers, for us as yoga business owners, we need to understand how we can also do that so that we can make sound business decisions. Okay, so that's mistake. The first mistake is not doing the research, instead putting all of your heart and soul into creating an online course that potentially no one wants, or it doesn't sell because the messaging isn't right. So we don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. So that's number one. Okay, so mistake number two is that you haven't previously launched it live. Okay, so you're one of those teachers that tells me, I want to create an online course and I want to make it evergreen. Yeah, I want to go straight into the evergreen first without launching it live. And I would say you want to launch it live at least 3 times. And the reason for this is that you need to be able to test what works and what doesn't work in real time. Okay, so let me just clarify what I mean by live. Okay, so evergreen is that we're putting it there. We've got our funnel that we've set up. We've got our freebies. We've got our email sales sequence that tells people about the online course and sells to them, right? And live is like what I do for the Profitable Yoga Teacher. So evergreen is what I have for Super Yogi online course, which is your marketing foundations 101, let's say. And then for the Profitable Yoga Teacher, which is the 6-month course where everybody starts on a specific date and we go through it week by week with live calls with me, that is a live launch. So for those of you who have been in my community for a while, you'll have seen me do this many times, right? So last month we had our online summit, then we opened the doors for enrollment. That's a live launch. And then we started the program on the 1st of November. So that's the definition of evergreen versus live. So when you create your online course, you want to first be launching it live at least 3 times and going through that process with your community before you switch it over to Evergreen. Okay. And there's lots that you have to test and that you have to understand the inner workings of. And specifically, I'm talking about your launch strategy. Okay. So I teach this inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher. So it's not something I'm going to be teaching you guys today. This is something that I teach inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher, and it's a 3-phase launch strategy. But essentially, it's all about your marketing, your messaging, your ads, your emails, and so on, and how you sell. And what tends to come like hand in hand with teachers who want to jump straight into the evergreen model is that they expect unrealistic results, right? They have really high expectations, and it's almost like thinking that we're going to be this overnight success and that the sales are just going to magically roll in. But of course, it takes time, right? It takes time, and part of that time is testing what works and what doesn't work. And the best way to test is to actually go through the live launches, right, of the same course, so that you can be there with your audience in a live setting and really see how they respond to your marketing, right, to the activity that you're doing in that run up to doors opening and during that enrollment closing period. And with live launches, you're always going to get more sales in a shorter, more condensed period, right? Which means more buzz. It means more students coming through the door. Okay, more students going through the process together, which means more stories, more testimonials. And you need that, right? You need that for your marketing. So if you go straight into Evergreen and there's like dribs and drabs of people coming in because you've not gone through it live before, okay, the student experience is not as rich, and it's actually harder for you to collect testimonials and for you to collect those stories of your students. And even when you've put your course on Evergreen, you still want to be testing, right? It's testing all the time, testing things, optimizing to make things better and improving your results. We're constantly doing this here in my business, right? We're constantly testing and optimizing our evergreen sales funnel for Super Yogi, right? And it's taken some work. And just to remind you, by that, I mean, we're looking at the freebies that we're using. We're looking at how much, how many people are coming into the funnel. We're looking at how we're promoting those freebies. We're looking at the sales email sequence, which emails are working, where are we getting the sales, where do we need to change some subject lines, where do we need to make, maybe make the sequence shorter. That's something we've just done recently. So we're always looking at that. And, but Super Yogi started off as a live course. It started off as a live course, and then, once we put it on Evergreen, we've been testing the email sequence and just looking at all of these moving parts. And the same with our ads as well, that are, driving some traffic, and the organic activity that we're using to drive traffic as well. There's a lot of testing, guys, to get it right. And it takes time. That might sound like a hell of a lot of stuff, and it is. But over time, you can optimize it. And actually you gain so much more data by doing it live at least a few times. So this is why, so mistake number 2 is that you haven't launched this course live at least a few times to kind of gather as much data as you can and to gather those testimonials that you'll use in your marketing, which are essential. You need those. And when I first put Super Yogi onto Evergreen, it didn't really produce any sales. It's taken a lot of work, right? Which isn't passive, which so again is why I don't tend to use the phrase passive income, because it's not passive. Really, it's not. You have to be patient with this process, and you really need to have this like long-term goal in mind when you start down this path. It's not to say that it's impossible, certainly not, and I'll come on to that in a moment. Okay, mistake number 3 is not making enough effort to promote it, to continually promote your evergreen online course. So as I said before, passive income is referred to as money that you make in your business without having to trade your time for it. But you will always, right? You will always be spending some of your time being visible, as I am now, right? I've actually talked about Super Yogi. I've been talking about Super Yogi, so you guys know about it, right? If you didn't know about it before, you know about it now. So I'm actually talking about it, right? Even though it's a passive income stream into my business, evergreen sales funnel, I'm talking about it. So you'll always be spending some of your time talking about your product, talking about your course, being visible, creating content. And of course, that's the goal, isn't it? Your goal as a business owner is to grow your community and nurture those relationships and feed your sales funnel, whether it's an evergreen or live or whatever it is, so that your ideal students become paying students, and you make sales in your business, you get that energy exchange, and you can continue on your way, right? So that is what we're doing in business. We are always communicating the problem that we solve, right, through our marketing, and we're always showing up to serve and support our students so that we can help people, and in turn, we can bring money into our business so that we can keep doing what we love. That's what we're doing. That's our goal. That's why we're here. So we all love this idea, right, of not needing to do any additional work after setting up and testing the funnel. But, real life is never so simple. Okay, so your community still expects you to share new content, and this passive income stream still requires an active presence. So don't be fooled by, or be allured into this pretense that passive income, as I said, means you can put your feet up and sip a coconut on the beach. That's not what it's about. You still need to be sharing your content. You still need to be, creating collaborations to grow your community. And also, when people do enroll into your evergreen course, they also expect personalized support, don't they? When they encounter a problem or they have a question, they will expect some support from you or from your team if you have one. So again, that's not passive. That's still requiring you to have that connection with your community and stay connected with them. The digital space, what I'm trying to say here, the digital space is constantly moving. It's constantly changing, evolving. And if you're not doing your part to stay on top of that, customer expectations are always changing. There's always other responsibilities, and if you don't stay on top of that, then that passive income stream that you've created, even if you've gone so far to do all the optimization and testing and refining, is going to quickly dry up. Like if you just then leave it there to do what it needs to do, that's not how it works. So you always need to be looking at continually promoting your offer and feeding the funnel, and staying on top of trends and new things that are coming up so that you stay relevant. So you've probably gathered that I don't believe that this model is entirely passive, but it's as passive as it will get. Okay, there's a lot of work that goes in, up front to get it set up. And then there's always going to be those tweaks and tests along the way, as well as maintenance, ongoing maintenance. It's not going to happen overnight, guys. If you've been thinking about this, in fact, tell me if you've been thinking about doing this in your business. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take investment. And, yes, you will have that sales sequence running whilst you're asleep. Yeah. And yes, you may make sales whilst you're asleep. You may wake up to sales, or when you're spending time with your family, or you are just relaxing, or whatever you're doing. Of course, that will happen. And it's amazing when that does happen and the notifications come in. It's amazing. But those are the 3 mistakes to make, right? So first of all, we had not doing enough research. Yeah, not doing enough research up front to understand the problem that you solve before you actually create your course. That applies to anything in your business. Number two, we had, what did we have? Number two was not doing enough testing and optimization, right? And expecting unrealistic results that you're going to make your millions overnight. Not doing that testing. And then number three is not spending enough time or making enough effort to actually promote your offering and be visible with your community. So they are the three mistakes. But as I said, I don't want you to think I'm painting a bad picture here of, evergreen models or passive income, because actually, they are awesome, really. Having an evergreen model sales funnel in your business is amazing. Seriously, there's something very powerful about getting that first evergreen sale notification, right? And over the years, I've done 4 full years. I'm in my 5th year in Digital Yoga Academy, and over that time, I've tested a number of evergreen funnels, right? So with different courses that I've created over the years from the start. And, I was that person in year one, wanted to get everything on evergreen and, had these big expectations. And, it took a few years into my business after launching live a number of times with various programs that I then moved Super Yogi onto the evergreen. And, that comes with experience. Like, it comes with real experience of like understanding, as I said, who you're serving. But as I said, like when you do get that first notification come in and you haven't had to do a live launch for it, or you haven't had to like hustle for it, or you're not worrying about it, you wake up and on your phone that sales notification is there, like your yoga business changes in that moment. It really does, because that sales notification tells you so much, right? It tells you that you've done the work, right? You've done that research that we talked about. You've done all the testing and optimization that we talked about. You've done, you've continued to be visible and stay relevant. You've done all of that. And so that sale is an indicator that this works, that this is actually going to be working for you. And it means that you're building a sustainable system, right? And that is a system, that sales funnel. I know it can sound a little bit over the head, but that's essentially what we're talking about, right? So, that system, it means that you've got something to actually work. It's not just another promotion. Like, it means you are actually on your way to generate consistent, predictable income without worrying all night, or without like the crazy hustle of a launch, which can be crazy and feel like it's a hustle. I mean, obviously over time, live launching is amazing as well, and like over time it won't feel like a hustle, because you just keep learning each time, and you understand how to go through that launch process. Especially for those of you who are in the Profitable Yoga Teacher program, you've got a step-by-step plan, so you're going to know how to approach your launches for your courses. But none of this gets handed to you on a plate, right? You have to do that work up front. You have to gain the experience of live launching. You have to be committed to this journey and this learning process. Like, we didn't learn this in our yoga teacher training. And so, it might take a few years to get there, and that's okay. It has for me. It's taken me a few years. But that, when you do that, like that first evergreen funnel sale that you get in, is really the beginning of a whole new world for you. Like, the possibilities have just opened up, haven't they? And, you can be like, wow, gosh, I can do this. I've really kind of cracked code now in my business, which is great. Becomes clear, and it shows you that you are on the right track. Yeah. So this definitely, isn't for the yogipreneur who is starting from scratch, but it's something to aspire to. Like, as a business owner, I really encourage you to be thinking ahead. Like, this is where you are now. Maybe you've just started from scratch with your online business and you're working on growing your community, which is amazing. And you're learning about your community. You're identifying your niche and your messaging. You're working through all of that. And, where do you want to be in 5 years from now? Like, what does that look like? right? And it's good to have a vision, isn't it? It's good to have a plan. It's good to have something to aspire to. And maybe what I've been talking about today is that thing. And so there's obviously a number of steps that you need to go through in order to get there, right? That's obvious. But sometimes we forget about those steps. And sometimes we might just be thinking, well, in 5 years from now, I want to have online courses that are selling themselves. Okay, so what do we need to do? What are the steps that we need to do to get there? This definitely is not for the teachers who are starting from scratch, the yogipreneurs who are starting from scratch. And, you know, this is more for you if you have launched a course before, right? Or you are ready to go on this journey, right? You're really ready to go on the journey of launching, okay? And if that's you right now listening to me, we actually have the Launch Accelerator that's going to be starting in mid-Jan, okay? In January 2022. We have a mastermind and it's just for 20 yogipreneurs. And the waitlist is open, guys. The waitlist is open right now, and you can actually get $1,000 off if you join the wait list. So if you're here in the Facebook group, I'm going to share the link with you right now. And if you're on Instagram, you can get the link on the bio. But the Launch Accelerator is a 4-month live container. It's the 4-month live container, and it combines high touch mentorship and coaching with me every single month. So private coaching sessions with me every single month, and then continuous learning through group strategy sessions every single week, and relentless accountability. And also has some done for you services in there as well. Okay, so it's a small group of 20. I actually ran this recently, and it's really incredible to be in a small group with just 20 other people, 19 other people, because you really do get that high touch and like relentless accountability. And quite often that's the missing piece, right? That's the missing piece to keep us going. This particular container is 4 months and it's live. In that sense, I mean, every single week you are being guided and given actual tasks and action points to work on that week, and the goal is by the end of the 4 months, or in month 4, you actually launch your course. So we go through the launch process. You remember at the start excuse me one sec. At the start of today's session, I mentioned that the launch process, the launch period that I teach inside the Profitable Yoga Teacher is a 3-part process. Okay, there's 3 phases to it. So we actually go through these phases together in the Launch Accelerator, and you actually launch your course in that time as well. So it's really powerful, right? It's powerful because you are being guided every step of the way. Okay, it's not like, you know, in the Profitable Yoga Teacher, there's teachers coming in at different stages of their business, and you go through it at your own pace. Even though we're going through it together, you know, there's not that like pressure. I don't want to say pressure, it's the wrong word, but that we're not like saying you have to be here right now at this part, right? You're going through it at your own pace, but having that accountability along the way and community along the way to keep you going. In the Launch Accelerator, the job, we're doing the job together, right? We're doing the job together. So it's like we are launching, baby, right? We are accelerating our growth and we are launching. So that is what it's all about. So if you have any questions about the Launch Accelerator and you are excited hearing this, please do reach out to me, send me a message, and we can have a little chat about it. But all you have to do right now, and you've got until the 15th of December, but all you have to do right now is to fill out an application form. That's it. That's all you need to do right now, is just to complete an application, and that will lock in the discount for you. And there's no obligation, because it's actually an application process. We want to make sure that we're a right fit for each other. So we will look at the applications. We've had some already come in. We've had quite a few applications come in already over the last week. And we will then invite you, if we think that you're the right fit for the container, we'll invite you to have a session with me, a call with me, and then you can make your decision from there. Okay, so It's really just about exploring right now if this is the right next step for you. Okay, so I super encourage you to take a look at it, take a look at the Launch Accelerator. As I said, this is for teachers, not for teachers who are starting from scratch. This is for teachers who are ready to launch a course, right? You've got a bit of a community there already. You've been doing the work. You've been here in this space. You want to launch your course in 2022 by spring, right? By spring, your course is out there in the universe. Okay, I'm going to support you. My team and I are going to support you to make that happen. Okay, so much today, but lots to think about, right? Lots to think about, because actually, you know, if you are that person that goes on to create your course and launch it in 2022, you're on your way to creating that passive income for yourself, right? You launch that course a couple more times next year. By the end of the next year, you can start thinking about this evergreen sales funnel and generating a passive income stream in your business, which is what I've been talking about today. Full circle. Okay, my love, sending you so much love today. Thank you for joining me, everybody. And yeah, see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.